All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our monthly chat with the mayor here on WNDI 95.3 FM and 1550 AM. I'm John Montgomery. It's all brought to you by your good friends at Gina Mills Country Financial Services, located right here at 21 North Court Street here in Sullivan. Remember, for all of your insurance needs and your financial advice, particularly for your retirement needs, give Brian and Gina a call today. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
John Montgomery. How are you?
It's good to be in the new building, finally.
Yeah, it is.
It's
90% good to be in the new building,
Okay.
right? Because as in all moves, right? We've all moved at one time or another, whether we left our childhood home, went somewhere else, moved to a college dorm, moved to an apartment, bought a home, moved again. We all know the struggle is real, man. The struggle of moving.
Yes.
But it's all great in the end. It's such a blessing to the community. But here we are today in our very first ever First Friday Chat, coming to you live from 110 North Main Street, located in beautiful downtown Sullivan, in the Central Plaza corridor, courtesy of local funding, ready funding, grant funding, a place that we can call home. For the first time in a long time, it's no longer a temporary IGA grocery store. Here we are with hopefully a permanent location for decades, possibly centuries to come, God willing. So here we are today, John. We still don't have, once again, full disclosure, all of the technical, technical logistics all handled.
Yeah.
We actually do have cameras that are hardwired. We are coming to you live in the city council chambers, but we've yet to have them come in and go online yet. But all the equipment has been installed. So we're going to the old-fashioned way still, but we are in a new location. We're trying some different angles. John, I think eventually we'll be at the other end of this room here in the council chambers with a video wall where we can come up and actually kind of highlight some of the things coming up. But today we're highlighting a glass window. We hoped that it would be a little brighter this morning and not such a rainy day, but oh well.
Yes.
But, I did complain yesterday in our test run about the bird taking a crap on the window. So the good Lord, I guess today is trying to maybe clean that off for us. But you can see Central Plaza located right across the street from us. Last night when we did our test run, it was around 4:30, 5 o'clock. We actually saw, I believe, Carlos and a few others out there actually coaching.
Playing soccer, huh?
Playing some soccer out there. And we had a little flag football going on the other side. So joyous times, great times here in beautiful downtown Sullivan.
Well, we know half of this building is your office, but the other part, let's talk about what else is in this building, Clint. What else will this building encompass?
Yeah, absolutely. And full disclosure, I want to make sure that the folks know that once all the furniture, once all the decorations are hung, we do plan to have an actual open house, kind of a ribbon cutting celebration to dedicate this wonderful facility to the citizens of the city of Sullivan. So stay tuned for that. That hopefully will be late March of 2026. When we can finally get all these things done. No, late March. I don't even want to say late March. If we can get you in here by the 4th of July and shoot off fireworks, I'll be a happy firecracker myself. That's 2027.
Yes. Okay, so who all's in this building?
Everybody. That's the great thing. The pandemic kind of taught us that it's probably not a good idea to be on top of each other, right? Social distancing. How the hell can you social distance in the old grocery store, right? Has anybody ever walked in there and seen that thing stacked on top of each other, literally?
Yes.
So, we always knew we needed a new facility, but that's really kind of what really put it together. And the fact we had some workers that were going home working remotely temporarily, which is what communities are going to. And we're going to talk about remote workers and things like that here in a little bit as part of our guest that's coming on today.
Okay.
But when it was time to kind of come back to the office, some people can still do remote work. We can do Zoom with the technology of today, with the fiber internet going throughout the city, things like that. We can still work remotely, but it was time to get everybody back together. We had Amber Hunt. She worked at the Civic Center across the street. Elena was out at the East Side Fire Station.
Okay.
So Cody was down at the park. JD was down at the street department and upstairs the building at 30 West Washington. So we were just kind of all over the board.
Wow.
Well, now we're here together.
Yeah.
And we can work together. We can collaborate.
Sure.
We can work on different projects. We have several different conference areas that we can do that in. Actually have a break room now. But more importantly, it's great for the employees, but it's great for the citizens. It's going to be a great place where you can come and see your local government at work. Here in the council chambers, you can come in and visit in the mayor's office, your building commissioner, anybody that you need to see, you have direct access to, so you can come in. But it's also, it protects the public as well.
Okay.
And it protects the employees. I hate to talk about bad things on the show, but we know we live in a world where you just don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
So the gals there at the front window are protected with literally bulletproof glass, and they can come in and deal with citizens. But, there's still some tweaks. Eventually, there'll be a drive-through for compact cars only. We found out.
Okay.
So your dually diesel is not going to be able to drive through the drive-through and pay your sewer bill. But, compact cars, things like that. So we're working out the logistics, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. It's huge. It's bigly. You're going to love it.
It definitely is.
It's
that.
great.
Let me ask you this, though, about the building's absolutely beautiful. How did you come up with the colors of what you wanted this to look like?
Just basically just sat down and pondered.
Okay.
Whenever you see the mayor out stalking places,
Yeah.
we're always researching and looking, and we'd sit out here for hours and just kind of look, and we'd kind of collaborate, and we'd talk about what it could look like.
Yeah.
We don't look at things as they are, and I don't think we've done that for the last 12 years, right? We try to look and envision a Sullivan and this facility of what it could be, right?
Okay.
We didn't look at it as a cinder block building of the old REMC. We looked at it, what could this be? This is more than just a municipal building. This is more than just a city hall. This is part of a downtown and a complex, right, of the Central Plaza corridor.
Right.
Hence the READY grant funding
Right.
that helped enable this project to become a reality. So between the Civic Center, between the city police department across the street, now we're working towards a new fire station, which we can talk about here in a little
Sure,
bit.
yeah.
So we just kind of sat outside. We were big on windows and natural light. It kind of goes into that mental health. It's that where people can actually see out. And one of the feedback I've got from a lot of the employees is how the morale has increased and how much happier. And you didn't realize the dungeon you were living in until you came out into the sunlight.
Sure.
Literally, the sunlight that comes in. So, I just think it's a happier place it overall as well. And it's a place that people can be proud of, right? The citizens can be proud of, the employees can be proud of. But as far as the color scheme, things like that, the gray with the white trim kind of matches, blends with, the Civic Center.
A thought.
Yeah, that definitely was taken into consideration. The Addison light bulbs that are strung in the alley here match the Addison light bulbs that are on the plaza across. But we're tweaking some things. It doesn't always turn out exactly how you had envisioned, but pretty close.
Yeah.
If you go on any of the city's social media, you can go back and see one of the earlier renderings that was shared with the public. And essentially, it's pretty darn close to where we're at. So we're really excited about it, about the new facility, and really excited about this first trial run. This might be the only show we do at this particular spot in the building, but eventually we'll kind of move things around, and we'll eventually find a home just in time for me to.
We'll get to that too in a little bit. I do love the window in the background. You can see what's going on outside, which we didn't have that in the other facility, but.
We were literally in a box.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some small windows. When the old IGA grocery store was there, they had the bigger windows of the grocery store.
Okay.
But over time, they kind of covered those in and put smaller windows in. And maybe at that time, that's how people did a lot of buildings and design. But anymore, you're starting to see a lot of the windows come back. We went through a time probably, maybe through the 70s, 80s, 90s, where people didn't want to maintain the old windows, and it was expensive to put in new windows. So you'll see if you go into the downtowns of a lot of communities, the second stories are bricked up.
Okay.
You remember the south side of the square, all of those were all bricked up until Flaherty and Collins purchased those and then put in the tax credit housing there on the south side of the square. So you're kind of starting to see this.
Okay. There's so many different ways we can go from here, so I'll let you choose. Which way do you want to continue with this?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we got so many things that we can talk about this morning that we want to get to. Be sure if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you're watching live right now, pop in. I think our producers will be watching from the side to see if there's any comments. I'm going to try to monitor them here as best as I can, but my computer times out in 3 seconds. So I have to get back in and out. I'm going to have to, maybe I can find a computer guy around here to help me with that basic setting here soon. So before we leave. So I would monitor them, but I think somebody can assist me with the monitoring of today. You know the theme of this show, First Friday Chat with the Mayor. We can't guarantee it, but we'll give it our best shot.
That's right. That's all we can do. But
Hell of a motto.
we are here courtesy of our good friends at Brian and Gina Mills of Gina Mills Country Financial, 21 North Court Street right here in Sullivan. Again, see Brian and Gina today for all of your insurance needs and also financial needs. If you're getting ready to
Absolutely.
retire, many of us are, more than we know, getting ready to retire, maybe
Not
moving
retire.
to the next phase of our life, I
There you go.
guess.
Seasons of change.
But yes, but make sure you contact them. They have great programs set up for you that can help you.
Absolutely.
So we think
And
that-
I want full disclosure. The reason City Hall moved was not because Gina Mills was across the street. Okay. Because that's why we stayed as long as we did. It was harder than hell to get away from Gina. I'll be quite honest with you. So there's a plug. Gina's a great gal, very active in the chamber. We really appreciate Country Financial, just like John said,
Absolutely.
located across from the former City Hall,
Yes.
across from the current Sullivan City Fire Department. We hope we eventually say former Sullivan
Yes.
City Fire Department. But
Yes.
Brian and Gina Mills, go check them out today on North Court Street in downtown Sullivan. So, John, without any further ado, before we really start to vomit all
Okay.
of this
Yes.
toxic, crazy chaos that we usually spit out and spew on this show every month, we do have a guest with us today.
Oh, good.
I believe it was promoted earlier in the week on the on promoting the show today, and we have a special guest who is becoming a very active member of our community. He's been a very active community pillar of the community up in Terre Haute, and now he's kind of spreading his wings throughout the Wabash Valley, but does an outstanding job, fantastic job. It's great. You're going to love it. He's getting ready to come on the show here. He's with Joink. You see a lot of trucks around town. You see a lot of flashing lights around town.
Yeah.
You see a lot of folks, some right-of-way work and things being installed, and people have probably some questions.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, with that long-winded introduction, we're going to welcome to the show, and he's pretty tall, so we're going to cram him in here.
Okay.
Right? We're going to pigeonhole him in this
Hope we
place.
can fit in this thing.
Mr. Josh Zuerner, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. How are you?
Good, sir.
Good.
How are you?
Doing extremely well.
Nice to have
Hi,
you
John.
here, Josh.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
Thanks
let
for
me
having me
move
today.
my
Make
computer
yourself
here.
comfortable.
Sure. Well, we
This
can,
is laptop
we can
city.
trade. Mine stays on for about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes, okay.
Or I can fix yours if you want.
Yeah, I think I might be able to get into that basic setting. We'll find out. You think you know about all this stuff until you have to do it, and then you're just like, oh my
So
God.
true. Yes.
There's so much to know in life.
Yes.
It seems
Yes.
like the
And
more
see-
you learn, the more you realize you don't.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's stuff it's basic things. But anyhow, so how are you? How are things going? You are with
Great, thank you.
Joink.
I'm with Joink, yes.
You are with Joink. And how long have you been with Joink? Can you give us a quick history here? What did you do earlier in your career? When
Sure.
you were a little boy, did you want to grow up and be mayor?
No, didn't want to grow up and be mayor.
Okay, you didn't want to be mayor, but I'm sure you had things you wanted to do. You got older, and I'm sure you're interested in, obviously, in this line of work. So how did this all come about for you personally? And then we'll kind of talk about your business.
Well, I've been really fortunate. I had just some great mentors growing up. I often say, born in the United States, God bless America, right?
Mhm.
So born in the United States, had parents who loved me.
That helps.
And had great teachers along the way. Spent 4 years at Purdue. Have a bachelor's degree in industrial management from Purdue.
Congratulations on the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
The Boilermakers. I saw they clinched that last night against
they did.
Wisconsin. Boiler up, right?
So, that's right. I was
Okay.
a little bit nervous with the IU game last week, but yeah. So just really fortunate. I really started off interested in technology as a kid. So my family owned a business in West Terre Haute and started using technology in the business, an old
Sure.
IBM System 36.
I was
It
getting
about
ready. I was
half
getting
the
ready to
size of this
ask.
table.
Technology growing up was a little bit different than what we use today.
Absolutely, yeah. So I got started loading price files and big mainframe computer systems, and that really created an opportunity for me to learn programming and get interested in technology. So I started off software development, writing code, writing software. I was a vendor to Joink, and then some investors from St. Louis made investment. They wanted to learn more about fixed wireless. They were in the cable business.
Wow.
And so they invited me to join Joink in 2004. So we've been at this now for about 19 years as a
2004.
team. I'm
Sure.
really lucky. We have great investors. We just recently have a new growth capital investor called Diff Capital Partners. They're an international infrastructure fund, and they're the group that's really bringing the funding to us that's allowing us to build City of Sullivan fiber to the home.
Nice. That's great. Wow. So 2004. So what? Now remind me again. Where did you when did you graduate from Purdue?
2003.
2003. Okay,
Yes, I
so
spent that
basically,
last semester driving back and forth between Terre Haute and West Lafayette. I opened a small business in Terre Haute providing IT consulting services, and Joink was a customer.
Okay.
And so in April.
so you were an entrepreneur.
Yes, and
All right.
a very small business. There were just two of us,
Right.
but we learned a lot. And I was lucky growing up as a kid around the family dinner table, hearing the opportunities
Sure.
and the challenges and the hopes and the dreams of a small family business.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody's
Okay.
seen the trucks around, Josh,
Sure.
for a while now, and you're putting this system in. For those who may not really be up to date on this, what is this really going to do for our community? What is the benefit of
I
this?
was getting ready to ask that, but okay. He's like, cut to the chase. What the hell's going on in Sullivan? No, I'm just teasing.
I like it. Well, I tell you guys, we're so thankful for the community's support. It's certainly, I'm sure, frustrating at times for the community when we're working in the right of way, blocking the driveway inadvertently. But gosh, the community's been so supportive. I think
Awesome.
a lot of folks in the community realize the benefit. The benefit is that we're bringing the best connectivity you could have anywhere in the world right
Okay.
here to the City of Sullivan. We're building an all underground fiber optic network.
Okay.
We're taking a strand of single mode fiber into each home. There's
Okay.
about 2,700 homes in the City of Sullivan that we'll be building fiber to.
Okay.
We're certainly hopeful that everybody signs up,
Yes.
but we're set up for everybody to sign
Yeah,
up.
at least they'll
Okay.
have the
They'll
opportunity.
have the opportunity.
And one thing I want to chime in here. Notice he said underground.
Right.
Thank you. Kudos. As
Right.
a mayor, as a community development person, nothing against our other utilities or things like that, but man, that aerial blight is what I call it. You go into some areas and with all the poles in the ground and all the wires, and you don't realize it until you go into a downtown area and you start to take those out and put those underground, remove the wooden poles, put in the decorative lighting. So kudos that your installation has come underground, and that's at a cost.
Oh, it's at a
That's
substantial
not
cost.
something that you would necessarily have to do, but it's kind of give us the why and why it makes sense, even though it is a substantial cost with that underground.
Sure. Well, Joink has been really fortunate. Each customer gets you closer to the next customer in this
Okay.
business that we're in. So if you can imagine, when we build fiber to an enterprise customer, say a bank or a hospital or a school, that now gets our network closer to somebody's home.
Sure.
And with our new investors, we've now been able to take that network and build to the homes that we pass and the communities that are
Sure.
nearby, those anchor tenants that we built early on.
Yes.
And so we built the network underground to begin with, because if you can imagine, the ER at the hospital is probably the busiest when there are terrible storms.
Right.
Right.
And so we need that network to be extremely reliable.
sure that's
To make
dependable.
sure it's dependable. And so we've built a very reliable network. We have redundancies at multiple levels and layers in our network. And so even when we build underground, we still often build in rings. So the electronics that we use to service businesses and homes are typically protected in that we have
Yeah.
multiple paths to them. So underground construction is kind of a hallmark in Joink's operation to date. We take a lot of pride in building the network underground, and we expect that polyethylene tube, that orange tube that you see us placing in the ground, we expect that to last for 50 years.
Right. That's
And
great.
oh, that's really neat. So I know you've been all over the town, but when is your project complete?
It's a great question. John, do you know how many miles it takes to pass 2,700 homes in the
I
city
haven't
of
done the
Sullivan?
math on that.
I know there's around 35 miles of just city streets.
Mayor, you get the prize
Yeah.
for today. There's 44 miles
Okay.
of construction
Wow.
required to pass
44.
2,700 homes in the
That's
city
a
of
bunch.
Sullivan.
That's a bunch.
Our team, we're so lucky. We have our own design team in Terre Haute. They take a lot of pride in their work. We get complimented from the various permitting authorities on the quality of our drawings and our work products. It takes a village. We have a fantastic team at Joink, and
Okay.
so not only do we design where we're going to go, but that really starts by walking the streets. We actually go out
Yeah.
and stake all of the other utilities. We identify where there are conflicts, and we plot a route to place that conduit underground that avoids those conflicts. So it
Okay.
minimizes the impact on the community and the other utilities, and it maximizes our productivity. Despite all of that planning and the fantastic drawing products, it still required us to break the project into 8 phases.
Okay.
And right now, we're working in phase 3. In phase 1 and 2, we've placed the conduit in the ground, and we've placed the handholds, those boxes that allow us to store
Yes.
the slack loops of cable.
Okay.
But we haven't placed any cable yet. We're going to start that here in a few weeks.
Okay.
So you'll start seeing big reels of fiber optic cable where we'll be blowing cable into that empty conduit in phases 1 and 2 of the project, and then we'll splice that cable and start start bringing customers online.
Well, certainly we're not the only community you're doing this for. So are you serving a large variety? I mean, the whole valley, or
We
whole
sure
state,
hope to. We
Yeah.
sure hope to. We operate in a 5-county area. We
Okay.
expect to finish the City of Sullivan project from a construction perspective, passing the homes in around October.
Oh, okay.
And we'll be progressively activating homes in this community. We're also working, continually working in Terre Haute. So we're building one part of Terre Haute at a time. Actually, right now we're trying to build multiple parts of Terre Haute at a time.
Sure.
And we're also working in the city of Brazil. We were very fortunate to win a grant from the state of Indiana in Next Level Connects Round 3,
Wow.
where we'll be building in
Nice.
all 5 counties. And one of the things that's unique is that in Vigo, Vermilion Park, Clay, and Sullivan counties, we received support from the county. And so we have dollars from Joink, we have dollars from the county, and we have dollars from the state going to those projects.
And I think a lot of people don't realize all the partnerships that it takes to make these things
Oh, it's
happen.
incredible.
That, the private sector can't do it all. Government
Sure.
can't install it all. So what you're seeing is a very innovative and creative way to kind of put all these things together.
Yeah, that's one of the big differentiators to Joink is that we're local, and being local allows us to build relationships with the community where they can understand that this is a journey and we have to go on that journey
Sure.
together. I have a good friend.
And there's going to be hiccups along
That's
the way,
right.
but at the end of the day, it's going to be very beneficial.
That's right.
For multiple parties.
Absolutely. To your question earlier about working in the right of ways, I have a good friend who says if you want to make an omelet, you've got to break an egg.
That's right.
Right. And
I understand.
we're out there building a fiber network, and that requires us to tear some
Sure.
stuff up. But we put it back, and we're proud of putting it back. And I think that the local communities see the pride that our teams take in doing that work because we are local, and to see the communities contribute. You know, Vigo County, for example. We worked on a project with Vigo County Schools and Vigo County government where we built fiber to 84 locations around the county so that students would have a place to go to get online.
Sure, because not everybody has that
Not
access.
everybody has access. And to think about a community coming together, local governments supporting the school system,
Absolutely.
investing edit dollars in that fiber network, and now
Sure.
we're leveraging that fiber network to be closer to those homes that weren't serviced under Next Level, and we're building fiber to the home along those
Yeah.
routes. So it's really exciting.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, kind of take a step back here. You mentioned you got with Joink, or you joined Joink's team in 2004. This has been a lengthy process of how we got up to this point. So, because I just want the public to understand, the record to reflect that actually there was a fiber line put in from another company years ago,
Yes, I'm
like
so-
early 2000s, around 2002,
Yes.
that came through, and it actually came down Main Street for this building at one time and the school that was here.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was hoping we could talk about that today. So really, the community deserves so much credit. That project was the CAPE grant.
Yeah.
And it was funded by Eli Lilly. And it was an initiative where Indiana State University was providing education, distance learning opportunities, both to the prison and the inmates at the prison, as well as the K through 12 school
Right.
corporation. And we were planning to build fiber to the school corporation here, and we were able to work out a transaction with Electricom. Electricom was operating that network at the time,
Yep.
to where we acquired those fiber assets, and we
Right.
now manage and operate those fiber assets, and we're using that as the backbone to get from Terre Haute to.
So that was kind of the pioneer that kind of came into the
is,
city.
absolutely.
And it went down and it went to the old Tyndall building, which we still reference the Tyndall building.
That's right.
Where Ivy Tech was located. So
That's right.
Ivy Tech was connected, the school was connected, Sullivan High School was connected. I believe that's why it went down Price Street
Yes.
and then came down. So, and a lot of folks in our community, I believe 2002, don't quote me on that year, but didn't even realize literally 20 years ago what was underground. Obviously it wasn't, and your company's really come in and just made a huge impact, spread, it's exploded, now it's into residential. But 20 years ago, Sullivan was probably one of the only rural communities that even had that connection.
No, that's right. And there were some families in Sullivan that worked really hard to make that happen. They advocated for that investment in Sullivan. And I've had the chance privately to speak with some of those people since we bought the asset, and they've been really excited to see us better utilizing the asset, now making it available to service homes. So I'm glad you mentioned Ivy Tech. We have really enjoyed the opportunity to hire out of ISU and Ivy Tech,
Sure.
to hire students out of Sullivan schools. We find that The students that grow up and work in these rural communities have a fantastic work ethic. And we find that the graduates of Ivy Tech and ISU are scrappy and hardworking, and have really made a big difference in our operation.
They're investing in themselves.
They absolutely
Just
are.
like you're investing in communities, you invested in your business.
right.
And when you go to Ivy Tech and these, I don't think people realize the tools that are close to us right here.
Oh, it's
that we can
fantastic.
utilize.
But when you consider the educational opportunities that exist inside of Ivy Tech, Rose-Hulman, Indiana State University, St. Mary of the Woods College,
Right here.
what's happening in our school corporations locally, there's such an increased emphasis now, John, on ways to go to school and have working opportunities. We'll host probably a dozen interns this summer. We've hosted a high school intern as well as college interns now for years. As have so many other local employers, and there's work release programs in the school during the day, and so I'm as positive on the workforce as I've ever been. We have really made some fantastic hires in the last few years, and I'm really proud of the work product that these educational institutions are producing.
So this is a chance for you to brag on your company, okay?
Okay.
I got a question for you. If I'm a citizen and I'm sitting at home and I'm watching this show this morning from my computer and I think, well, why in the world do I need to sign up for Joink? I've already got internet at my house, or I've already got this. So what makes Joink, what makes it stand out? Is there a cost savings for some folks? I mean, I know I'm going to be a customer of Joink. I haven't yet to sign up yet, which I want to get to that too. You think you'll be completed by October. But we need folks to sign up today, and I want to make sure we plug that
We really
to kind of get on the list, to get you some numbers. But also, why does the Lamb family choose to switch our internet over to Joink?
No, I appreciate you asking the question and giving me an opportunity to talk about that. We really do need folks to sign up. We made a really big bet on the City of Sullivan. We have historically in our projects in Terre Haute required 30 to 40% of the homes that will pass to pre-order before we will build a project.
Right.
And because of all the good things that are happening in Sullivan and the investments that are being made here, this is the first time and the project is of a manageable size for us.
Sure.
But this is the first time that we committed to build an entire city without having that pre-order percentage, and I'm really hoping the community will come through and order our service.
Yeah. City Hall has.
Yes, thank you for that, Mayor. So our service is of symmetrical speed. So when we sell our cheapest package or lowest price package, it's a 300 megabit upload and 300 megabit download package, and that's very unique. Most other broadband offerings are asymmetrical. They take that limited amount of bandwidth that exists in a coaxial cable, for example, or in a pair of copper wires in the case of DSL, and they allocate the majority of the bandwidth to download speeds. Well, the world's changed. Look at what we're doing today. We're uploading a streaming video. Many of us have photos and videos that we want to upload. We have iPhones that we want to back up. We need upload bandwidth now, where in the past we didn't.
And we talked earlier about the need for a new facility, upgraded technology, and what the pandemic taught us.
Yes.
According to Forbes magazine, 5 million Americans were remote working from home before the pandemic.
Yes.
By the end of 2022, I know this was an article I believe I read in October, they had estimated that 42 million Americans
Isn't that incredible?
will be working from home. So to me, and if you could kind of touch on this, then we'll cut you loose. I know you're a busy guy. We talked about the difference between your internet service compared to some of our current providers.
Yes.
We talked about how you took the chance and you saw all the great things happening in Sullivan and you decided to follow suit, the private sector, and invest. Can you talk about the importance? It's not just for Tommy at home who's gaming.
Oh, no, not
right. It's not just, I want to be able to stream my Netflix without any, but if a community is truly wanting to increase our population, if a community, at one time indoor plumbing was a luxury, then it became what you just absolutely needed.
That's right.
For residential development. Fiber, to me today, is becoming what indoor plumbing was years ago for just a community with all these people. So if you could kind of elaborate what you're seeing, because I know you're not just in Terre Haute, you're spreading around the Wabash Valley, but you also keep your pulse on what's going on around the country and the world.
Oh, we do.
Why is it so important that a community partner with you, invest back with you to build an overall long-term better Sullivan?
Well, we appreciate your support. As you know, a couple of years ago, we purchased from redevelopment that small parcel on the east side of town. We established our remote office. That's where we house our electronics.
A lot of folks probably don't realize that. It's out of sight, out of mind.
That's right.
You had come to Sullivan. We'd met for coffee a couple years ago, and you said, over time, I'd like to make an investment in Sullivan, but here's where I needed to start. And
That's right.
what do you technically? I call it a booster station, right? But that's probably the layman's term. What do you call that little facility? It's located at the corner of Broad and Wolf, just to the north. Actually, where we're going to talk about the fire station that we might have to the south of you here.
No, that's fantastic. We call it a remote office.
Remote office.
It's a prefab concrete shelter. It has a tensioned concrete roof on the top. It's a very secure, safe structure that houses our electronics.
Okay.
So we use basically 2 fibers from Terre Haute. We send a signal down to that remote. And then that remote, we have the electronics that allow us to serve all the businesses and homes in the community,
Great.
including cell towers, for example, that we service down here. So we travel the country. We attend a variety of different shows. We know that real estate values will increase when there is a fiber provider in the community. Right. We know that individuals can work from home for a company anywhere in the world when they have this kind of upload bandwidth. It's not just about bandwidth. So often we see consumers very focused on speed tests, and we'll get a call where somebody will say, gosh, I'm paying for 300 megabits per second, and I get that in most of my house, but in this one corner of my home, I only get 265.
We see that a lot.
Well, there's still wireless service inside the home, but these speeds are so fast. What it's really about is
and when you have
low
7
latency.
people living in the home, all on at the same time on their devices at different parts, or you're sitting on your front porch. But yeah, go ahead.
Sure, but we're at a place where the speeds that we're selling functionally allow a person to do anything they need to do, to work from home, to play a game, to participate in a classroom, virtual learning. These upload and download symmetrical speeds are a complete game changer, but it's not just the speed. It's that it's low latency. It's that there's no packet loss. It's that it's not as vulnerable to storms and storm damage because it's built underground. So we're building and offering a very highly available, very reliable product. We connect to the internet in Indianapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis. So we actually have a big ring that connects those 3 metro areas, and we connect to the internet in all 3 places.
That's amazing.
So Joink has a tremendous amount of redundancies in terms of how we get to the internet. So our hope and aspiration is that people will move to Sullivan for quality of life, what you've done with the parks and the pool and the community and the trails, this plaza area. And then they can work for maybe one member of the household works for a local business. Another member of the house now can continue to work their prior job that may have been in New York or
anywhere in the world.
Sarasota.
Yeah,
sure.
Awesome.
Toronto, wherever. And that connectivity makes all the difference.
It's nice to know, though, Josh, that those who signed up for this, and I know many will, weather won't have an effect on it. So
that's right.
Like wind, snow, sleet, hail, whatever it might be. Like today, it's raining all day.
That's right. Our remote office, in fact, has a generator built into it. So we have 2 battery strings, and then they're backed up by a generator. So just lots of redundancies. It's a huge investment. We probably had over $1 million invested in the community prior to launching this project, and by October we'll have over $7 million invested, incremental dollars invested in the community. So it's a big investment.
Great.
Yeah. So a $7 million private investment to help, obviously, residential development, but also remote workers working from home and businesses. So in closing here, before you take off, if somebody's interested today, they watched this show and they said, you know what, I want to be a part of this.
Sure.
What do they do to contact? Who do they contact? Is there a number? They go online. How do they sign up to be on that waiting list?
Sure. Well, much like your office building, our customer onboarding experience is a bit of an evolution. So I right now we did launch a new website this week. So a resident can go to www.joink.com, and on the very front page they can select to sign up for residential service. We're working to continue to enhance and improve that process so that a customer can do the entire sign up online. Today, what will happen is they'll sign up, enter their address, and a representative will follow up with them.
Great.
And get them signed up. They can also call our office at 812-234-5100.
Okay.
We have a really talented sales team. We're also starting to go door to door in Sullivan as well, and
the old-fashioned way.
Provide an old-fashioned in-person sign-up process. We're very committed to this community, and we're very hopeful that residents will take advantage of this offering. It's a huge investment. But I sure think it's a big part of improving the quality of life, and you and your team have sure done a great job
thank you.
on quality of life here.
Appreciate that.
Awesome.
All righty.
Josh,
Thanks for
thank
coming
you.
on the show.
Thanks for having me today.
Pleasure to have you.
Congratulations on your growth.
Just wanted to make sure there was a comment.
We do have a comment.
Great.
Yeah, one thing is our Golden Hoosier has already signed up whenever she first saw it.
Our Golden Hoosier, Gene McMahon.
Our question is, from a local business owner here, good morning. is the new fiber option available for business as well, or just households? You've answered that. Would you repeat it?
Sure,
Repeat one more
we
time.
do. We offer service to businesses, and we've offered service to business in Sullivan for quite some time, but it was, depending on where the business was located, sometimes there was an installation fee. The neat thing about the residential project and those 44 miles that we're building is we're so close to so many businesses that the installation fee should be pretty low at this point, depending on where the business is located, of course. But we have been a business fiber optic provider since 2014. Not only do we offer internet service, we also offer telephone service and virtual machine hosting. So if a business doesn't want to keep their server on their own premise or it's time to refresh their equipment, we can move their server to the cloud. We also provide managed services to those businesses so they can focus on their business and we can focus on the technology for them. So servicing small and medium businesses is our bread and butter, and we're expanding into fiber to the home, growing on the wireless investment, which, Sullivan was one of the first communities that Joink had fixed wireless in back in 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
So we've really appreciated the community's support for a long time.
So when they sign up for Joink and they
Yes.
turn on their computer, they'll hear, they don't hear that anymore?
We need to clip that out of today. We need to clip that out of the radio and work that into the website.
Ding dong.
That's really good. That is.
Was that close?
So when I was in probably in about middle school, that's when I started calling
Smoke
into
signals.
a bulletin board to send email and had a phone line to do just that. Heard that
Yeah.
sound every night.
Well, Josh, you're an inspiration.
Absolutely.
You're a Wabash Valley hometown boy.
Yes.
That you were inspired by your parents.
Yeah.
You went, you educated yourself. You took the risk to start off your business. You joined Joink. You've built Joink. You and your team
Well,
have
we have
done
a
a
great team.
tremendous job. You've been an asset for the city of Terre Haute, and now we are really, really proud and humbled that you chose Sullivan to be kind of your first expansion step. So we appreciate that, and I strongly encourage the residents to also thank Josh by providing
Right.
them a better service. And then also, it's a win-win, right?
Yep.
And anytime, I get the last plug, anytime we need anything, we can pick up the phone. Josh is a call away. He's a big community supporter. You've never turned us down for anything, and that's what it takes, partnerships in the community. You're just as much of a Sullivan business as you are Terre Haute, so we
Absolutely.
appreciate you coming.
We appreciate your support.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for our investors and our customers and our bankers, I wouldn't be here today. Our team members, we have a fantastic team. We have great vendors. It takes a village.
Yes.
And we're just so thankful for all those relationships and how those relationships have allowed us to now bring this service to Sullivan. So,
One more thing.
Sure.
Bowler up.
Blow her up. There you go.
Hammer down.
March Madness is going to be underway, and be sure to tell Mayor Duke I offered you a hell of an incentive package to move you and your family down. And did you hear that? Joint headquarters will be located.
We thank Josh for being with us here on
Thanks again.
WNDI and,
Appreciate you
and
coming
on
on
the
today.
monthly chat with the mayor. It's all brought to you by your friends at Gina Mills Country Financial Services, located right here in Sullivan at 21 North Court Street. See Brian and Gina today for all of your insurance and financial needs. And they have so many different programs you set up for you to enjoy and benefits you, particularly in retirement days on the financial side. But they can handle your insurance needs as well. So give Brian and Gina a call. 21 North Court Street right here in Sullivan. Well, I'll tell you what, that was fantastic.
That was that's
Oh
one of
my
our greatest guests.
Yes.
It was good because,
He was fantastic.
and a lot of that is technical dork talk, right? But he made it interesting.
Yeah, he lowered it down so you and I can understand. Well, you can understand it. He did it for I can understand it. So
I can't always understand it. Like I said, I have a hard time turning this thing on, but no, it's great. I can't. Here's your why, okay?
Yeah,
When he talked about just the value of just the fiber going into the ground, what that does to property values, right? This is the why. And how many times on this show have we talked about that there's no magic bullet to community development? It's not like, well, Joink's here, now everything's going to be better.
Yes.
Well, the Civic Center was built, now everything's going to be better. Well, now we're in a new city hall.
Yeah.
The city police have a new police department with their own training facility and upgraded facilities. And hopefully here before too long, well, not hopefully, it is going to happen. It's just we hope it's expedited. The Sullivan City Fire Department will have a place that they can be proud of. And all these facilities are going to be hooked up to a dependable broadband high-speed internet, right? The Sullivan City Pool is a Joink customer,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And you can go down there and get high-speed internet because we all know kids, we want to get them outdoors, but they're going to bring their phones with them. So, John, whether it's the city pool, whether it's the Sullivan Trail system, the Sully Greenway system, which also adds value to Sullivan neighborhoods, whether it's the lighting, whether it's, what some folks might refer to as putting lipstick on a pig. Yes, it does help.
Yes.
It does matter.
Yes.
It does. It attracts folks like Josh. Did he say $7 million? Did I catch that number?
Yeah.
A private investment of $7 million. There's your why. There's why this journey was started in January 1st of 2012. There's your why. There's why with the great Sullivan schools, with a great community, with new home construction coming up. It's these folks that are going to be moving to Sullivan, right? Because they're going to have these amenities that aren't just luxuries anymore. They're demanded.
Absolutely.
They're demanded. So
Just the way we live in. Yeah.
big kudos to him. I think it's so important that it was so much more than just an internet pitch,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's a part of that big picture. I've said it a million times. You can take all the pieces. A community is a puzzle. All the pieces are there. Now you might have left them in the basement and might have got flooded, or they might be a little dirty, they might be broke, but they will eventually come together, but it does take time, right? But piecing it all together, I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm just as excited as I was January 1st of 2012, and it's great to see the private sector responding.
And people, hopefully, that were watching and listening to this on the radio and on Facebook now have a better understanding of why this is important and how this can benefit them and why they should probably sign up. And
Sure.
And hopefully they understand a little bit better today than they did yesterday. Well, we have just a few minutes left here, Clint. Is there anything you want to jump in on?
Yeah, well, I think we talk about private investment, right? We might as well just continue to move into that.
Okay.
We've talked about the private investment here. So we have $7 million here, private investment. There's your why. As we continue to move forward with our hotel investment, and I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's not a matter if anymore, it's a matter of when. We're cutting through the red tape. We're going through the logistics. These things just don't happen overnight. And for folks that say, well, what in the world do we need a hotel for? Well, I don't know. Somebody's willing to bring $8 million here, okay? That's called the free market. That's called the private sector. And if you want to know just why, contact your local chamber, contact your local tourism board,
Right.
contact anybody, contact the Sullivan County Park and Lake, contact Crane, contact Brampton Brick, contact the
Hoosier
DNR,
Energy, yeah.
Hallador Energy,
Right.
Hoosier Energy, contact the solar fields that are coming up that are begging for places for people to stay. So don't take the mayor's word for it. There is a demand. If there wasn't a demand, Choice Hotels would never have made a decision to come here.
Right.
Mr. Hicks would never have made a decision to come here. First Farmers Bank and Trust would have never made a decision to come in and invest and help finance and fund. The state of Indiana, the Ready dollars, would have never picked this project. The Wabash River, the RDA, West Central 2025, I can go on and on. John, the magic here, it's more than a mayor. It's more than a mayor. Like it or not, it's more than a mayor, right? And $8 million from a hotel, $7 million from Joink, and just 2 weeks ago announced $14 million, million dollars from a private company, right? Radiant Communities, T&H Investments out of Indianapolis that were awarded historic tax credits. I know there might be some confusion on this, and I want to try to clarify some of this today if I could.
Yes.
Because it's huge.
Right.
It's a great announcement, and it is no different than what happened just a few years ago with Flaherty and Collins with their $8 million investment. When they took properties that you could not give away, and they put money in local people's pockets. Yeah. There's the money that went to the business community, right, into their pockets, and purchased buildings on the south side of the square, and then took the first 10 homes that the city administration eliminated with the help of federal funding through the Blight Elimination Program.
Right.
I mean, I know there's a few residents upset about this, but I'll be honest with you, I think I pissed off more raccoons and skunks than I have people, and I apologize. The raccoons would have never voted for me if I ran for a fourth term.
Yeah.
The raccoons are really mad. I'm telling you, I watched 14 of them skedaddle out of a home that the bulldozer was coming in on.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if we upset the rodents and the varmints of the community. We've eliminated these spots. Flaherty and Collins came in with private investment, and now Radiant Communities is coming in with $14 million of private investment. Not city-owned. You don't have to go get a mortgage on them. When folks say the math doesn't add up, the math does add up because they're rental properties.
Right.
And after so many years, you can lease to purchase. It's that clear.
Pretty simple, yeah.
Very simple, actually. Unless you have a political agenda that you want to twist and turn facts, then it kind of becomes kind of convoluted. But the reality is this. The City of Sullivan did not apply for a $14 million grant. It's not a grant. A private company asked the IHCDA for tax credits. They were awarded $12 million to invest in Sullivan. Not anywhere else, Sullivan. During that announcement, 18 other communities were also awarded. 18 other spots were awarded. So it wasn't just a Sullivan thing. What do you mean the math doesn't add up? Well, does the math add up in Noblesville? Does the math add up in Fort Wayne? This is happening all over the state, all over the world, all over the country. I'm just glad that Sullivan has a seat at the table. I'm glad that we chose to put lipstick on that pig, so to speak, and invest in ourselves to have $7 million here, $8 million coming, $14 million coming, and more importantly, more than the economic investment, the lives that are going to be enriched. Because I'll tell you right now, I don't support slum living, okay? And I don't care who you are, what your last name is, where you come from, what age you are, you deserve a quality place to live. Anything subpar is unacceptable. I don't care what decisions you've made. I don't care what circumstances have been dealt your way. You don't deserve to live in subpar housing. And with this private investment, the folks of our community, the kids that go to these schools, are going to have an opportunity to live in family housing, right? Workforce development housing. We say we want jobs. We say we want all these things. Well, there's a ton of jobs. We need employees.
Yes.
And they all need a place to live. And when they move to Sullivan, just like Josh talked about coming to Sullivan, when they move to Sullivan, they bring their kids with them that go to our public schools, which increases funding there. They shop at our local stores, which increases more customers. They participate in the local process, and they become employees to our local employers that can actually fill the positions that are already available. There's your why. There's also been brought up, well, how in the world, if you bring $14 million worth of housing, can the antiquated sewer system support this? Where are these homes going to be built? Where blight once stood. I hate to say this. I like to call it growth. It's playing catch up.
Okay.
We're replenishing properties where there was already a house. The housing stock has gone down because it was old. It is time to recycle that housing stock. It's time, this is our time in history to reinvest, to recycle, to put homes once again. Homes, not just houses, a home. A home for families to have a round table discussion at their kitchen table.
And a quality home.
A quality home. A home where the boy can throw his basketball up against the wall and dad can come in and yell at him to quit doing so.
Yeah.
The home that the single mom school teacher can come home and make sure that her kids are taken care of, make sure that they got to cross country practice that night, make sure they got their homework done, making sure their little sister got picked up from the babysitters and brought home. That's your why. It's more than a mayor, folks. A little passionate today. I'm always passionate.
Yeah.
But this administration and the people in it, and I could name everybody on this team, have worked their ass off. They've worked their ass off. And I will defend this city till the end. I will defend the city as the mayor, and I'll defend this city past being the mayor because I'll always be a citizen here. And I'm so proud of the private investment coming, and I can't wait. I hope I'm still around to be able to put a shovel in the ground or cut the ribbon, and I can't wait till the first U-Haul pulls up and we unload that new family coming to Sullivan. Because that's what other families had the privilege to do since 1853, since this city was established. And if we're going to last another 170 years, this isn't a necessity. This is what has to be done. Who owns the properties? Not the City of Sullivan. Who maintains the properties? Not the City of Sullivan. Private investment. Who maintains the infrastructure? Not the City of Sullivan.
Yeah.
Just like I don't maintain the infrastructure at John Montgomery's house.
Right.
Just like the city doesn't maintain the infrastructure at Clint Lamb's house. This is very simple. Don't overcomplicate this. This is huge. This is impactful.
Yeah, very much.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's the people. It's the people that will be benefited. It is our number one investment to invest in the people of this community.
It's so funny and interesting to listen to you talk about that, because when you started in 2012, the theme was we need to bring things to give people a better quality of life.
The mass exodus has to end.
Yeah.
We
need
you
to
know what
find
we
ways to keep
excelled
people.
at? Exporting talented young people out of here. And we did it. 1980, the population peaked. I've said it many times before,
Right.
when they were building the power plant. And it declined for 37 years until 2017, and we gained the one citizen, and we all laughed. Oh, that's one citizen. You don't understand. You lost 40, 37, 35. You kept losing. We've stopped the mass exodus, and now private investment's coming. It's worked. And I know that drives some people nuts that it's worked, but it's worked.
And now you want people coming back to live.
You want them to come back to live. You're replenishing that housing stuff. And did you ever think about, if a new house is built, that's more people paying property tax. That's more people paying a stormwater fee. That's more people paying the sewer payment, right?
Right.
So therefore, the more that pay, the less everybody's impacted.
Right.
The old saying, the more the merrier.
Sure.
Now, let's face it, it would be difficult to bring on to double the size of the city without some initial investments, right?
Right.
But we continue to invest. We have record investment in our sewers and infrastructure that's never been seen before in the last 12 years. We spent, millions of dollars, and we got grant dollars to do that. Maybe some folks missed that headline, or they haven't followed the cities. Every single day, our workers, Tony, Chris, Trevor, Colton, they're doing a heck of a job trying to keep up with an aging infrastructure system. He talked about hoping that these lines lasted 50 years, right?
Right. Sure.
On his fiber.
Right.
Our sewers are over 100 years old. And we're working our tail off. And it's not just a Sullivan problem, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the bipartisan infrastructure bill that's being talked about all the time? Have you seen dilapidated sewers? The city of Terre Haute just came down this week, was on our Facebook page, and it was also in the Tribune Star, because they had some issues at their plant and they needed some assistance down here. Without getting in all the details, they needed a certain algae or some bugs out of our plant to take up there for the decomposition of whatever. It's that regionalism, it's that working together. But there has been record investment, so many grant dollars, stormwater grant dollars. You can't drive around without seeing a new catch basin. And we don't just, quote, fix a sewer line. We dig it up and we replace the sewer line. So
We're going to have to stop it right there for this.
are we running out? We're running out of time. You're getting ready to go in.
I love it.
Be sure to join next month. We'll talk about the fire station real quick in closing. $500,000 grant. More grant dollars coming into the community from the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. We need good infrastructure. We need homes. And we need to make sure that people are safe in this community and that our first responders are protected. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you so much, John Montgomery. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you soon at the April edition of First Friday Chat. Have a great weekend.
Again, this is our monthly chat with the mayor, brought to you by your friends at Gina Mills Country Financial of Sullivan. Party line coming up next.